Hey, good evening. It's Wednesday, July 2nd. Welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. We're talking about the things that Christ has liberated us from. True independence, true freedom. Freedom that comes from being set free by the work of Christ. We talked about being free from the fear of death. We talked about yesterday being free from anxiety. Today, very closely related, we're going to talk about being free from the need of the approval of others. Being free from the need of approval. You see, when we take our eyes off of God and we look at people, we wind up losing sight of what's important, and we wind up craving the needs, the desire, and the approval of people for our well-being. We lose sight of the fact that my worth is bound up in what Jesus did for me, not what somebody else thinks for me, especially somebody who is messed up in sin just like I am, and whose only claim to goodness is of what Jesus has done for me. Why should I seek approval from them? That's different than being kind. That's different than being gracious. That's different than being a true servant. You see, seeking the approval of others turns being a servant into being a slave, because I have to have their approval. And it sinks deep. But God has something much different for us. The whole book of Galatians is about approval. The Galatian church, they were trying to gain the approval of the Judaizers, who were telling them to do certain things according to the law to be worthy. And Paul is furious with them for even entertaining these truths. At the beginning of chapter 5 and verse 2, he says this, "Mark my words. I, Paul, tell you that if you let yourself be circumcised, Christ will be no value to you of it all." No value to you at all. He's challenging them not to seek the approval of these people who were saying you could be made righteous by keeping various aspects of the law. The whole book is about that way, being free from the approval of others. He talks about the battle of the spirit and the flesh. Don't give in to the spirit, to the flesh, because it makes you a slave to your desires, to that craving to have other people have their approval of us. He talks about being liberated by the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. There's no law against those things. They liberate us. And right connected with this is the passage at the beginning of chapter 6, where Paul encourages people, if you see somebody trapped in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him gently. But then watch yourself. We don't do these things to gain their approval. We do these things because it's right before God. And then he kind of catches us off guard, because we're not used to this kind of thinking, because we want people's approval so much. In verse 4 he says this, "Each man should test his own actions. Then he can take pride in himself without comparing himself to somebody else." Each man, each person, each woman, each child should test his own actions. How do we test our actions? By the Word of God. This Word, pursuing the fruit of the Spirit, those good things. I can evaluate myself, test myself by this standard so that it becomes a faithful mirror to me. That's how I gain confidence. I don't need someone else to tell me I'm okay. I need this to tell me I'm okay. Then I'll know whether the praise I get is genuine or not. You see, we are people who are destined to want to believe the lies people tell us. Remember what the Proverbs say, Proverbs 27:6, that the faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are profuse. Someone only has good things to say to you that approval, that's not approval. That's manipulation. So I test myself by the word, and then I can take pride in myself. In other words, I can evaluate myself the way that God evaluates it because I'm living according to his word without comparing ourselves, to one another, to somebody else. I don't need their approval. That's why Paul begins this section. He says, if you see someone trapped in a sin, if you're seeking their approval, you're not going to be able to help them. But if you love them and care about them, then you give them the best help of all. You give them the help of the scriptures without wondering whether they're going to like you or not, or approve of you. See, that's what a true servant is. If I'm serving God first, then those people whom God is at work, they will understand that and be grateful for that and appreciate you. But if we seek the approval of other people first, the waters get muddy, murky. Am I doing it for their approval? Am I doing it for God? Am I doing it for myself? Understand what's being said here. These are powerful words. Each man, each person should test his own actions. Then he can take pride in himself without comparing himself to somebody else. For each man should carry his own load. See, if I'm needing your approval, I can't carry my own load. I need you to help me carry it. And there's a balance here, and Paul's aware of that. He talks about that earlier in the chapter. We need to work together, but there's times when we need to carry our own load. But we do it by the power of the Spirit that's within us, by following the fruit of the Spirit, by denying the flesh and winning that battle. Because the flesh wants to enslave us to the demands, desires, and seeking the approval of others. Jesus knew what was in the heart of a man, and he wouldn't have any part of it. Look at the end of John 2 sometime. The approval of others, it's a trap. It's quicksand that will drag you and me deep into mess, deep into self-service, deep into slavery to others. We don't need the approval of other people. We don't need that approval. We have the approval of Christ, who gave his life for us, not because I'm so good, but because he is so righteous and God is so gracious. Take hope here. Take heart. Don't seek the approval of people. Live on the basis of the approval that's already been given to you in Jesus. And that's the thought for this night. Again, love your thoughts, feedback, and Lord willing, we'll be back tomorrow. You have a great evening. Bye-bye.